Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're doing another lesson at the Santa Monica Airport, going toward my sport private and eventually, of course, my private pilot's license. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been a while since I've flown. It has been more than a month. I would say a month and a half or month and a week. So in case you didn't know, I was sick for about 2.5 weeks. I had like the really bad end of the year flu, the worst I've ever had it. Fever, cough, anything you want, you had. I even had an infection where I got an enlarged lymph node that I needed really strong antibiotics. Like, I've never had that in my life. So it was very strong, but I'm okay. I am better. Not only that, but before I was sick, they closed the airport, this airport, for 10 days, the Santa Monica Airport. Why? Because they shortened the runway 750 feet on each ends, going from a 5,000 to a 3,500 foot runway, shortening it, so of course I couldn't fly during that time. Then literally I got sick right after. I had a lesson like right after it opened. The day after Christmas, I was sick. All the way up to the New Year's, I was sick. And then we had a few weather issues. We had really strong rain on one day, can't fly, visual flight rules because you can't see anything. So we couldn't fly that day. And then the other day we had another weather thing where we had to again cancel. And so today finally we're having another lesson, so I'm really excited to get back in the plane and you know, well, I'm sure I'm a little bit rusty, but I want to get through that initial, okay, I'm a little rusty, let me get back into it. So it's been pretty good. It's been a good amount of time and I have missed flying so much. A few things. I want to go out there before I have my lesson and just show you a few things on the runway. I want to show you the shortening, I want to show you the different markers, I want to show you the run-up, how it used to be on one end of the runway, now it's farther in, there's less space to do it. It's kind of crazy, and I'm hot. It's hot here. It's almost 80 degrees and it's January, which is fine. It's just so much more hot than I'm used to. So, a couple of things that I want to get through before I get, you know, actually into the plane and all that. I'm almost done with ground. Apparently I have 3, including today, I have 3 more lessons of ground. So that's 3 more hours and then that's done, and then it's all practical stuff. So it's pretty good. I'm happy about that as well. Not that it's bad, but it's more time in the plane, which is good. More focus on the plane. So we looked at aeromedical features, basically some things we have to be aware of medically when you fly, like things about your natural blind spots in your eyes and how to search for other planes when you're flying, as well as hypoxia, which means not enough oxygen, and how that's very important. As you fly higher, there's less oxygen. How to be aware of that, how to be aware of when you're tired, things like that. Shorter runways, longer runways, wider runways, narrow runways. That definitely makes a difference to how you fly and how you perceive your surroundings. So that was very important. Also looking at things like risk factors and should you make good decisions, good responsible decisions when you fly. And there's a whole chapter on that, on, you know, maybe you didn't get enough sleep, maybe you feel the sniffles. You need to be in all good state of mind to be able to fly, because it is a little bit more complicated than driving in the sense of you are doing a lot. And so, yeah, something to keep in mind. So let's go in there. All right, everyone, so let's take a look at the airport from the observation deck. And I want to show you some of the upgrades that they did. Upgrades or downgrades, depending on who you ask. I'll show you the lengthening or the shortening of the runway, actually. See, that's the startup point where that plane is. That's where you start up now for your takeoff. Show you some of the changes. So the run-up, I'll put arrows in the video. So the run-up is now over here, where you see these orange markers, where they used to be behind all those planes on that back wall, right over there. The beginning of the runway is approximately, you can see that white line right there. That white line in the middle of the screen is cutting the screen in half. That's the beginning of the runway. The beginning of the runway used to be all the way back there, literally the start of the asphalt. You can't take off from back there. So it is a lot of changes. Tower's in the same place. Everything else is pretty much the same. Runway, you have 750 feet removed. Now those big numbers tell you how much is left. 1,000 feet, those numbers are not there. So that's a big change. 2,000 feet left. Wow. It's gonna be a challenge.
And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head, it's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low, take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low, take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy.
Hey, what's up guys and gals? So, I'm back from my flight. So, I have to tell you, today was, at least for me, let's not talk about what my instructor said, because he was very, very positive and encouraging. Not that I'm negative, but I want to talk to you about this, guys and gals, so hopefully you want to stick around and tune in. Today was rough. Like, that's the only thing. Everyone's safe, everyone's good, nothing really happened. It's just for me. This is an internal struggle for me. Today was rough because I was super rusty. It was one of those things where, you know how if one thing is off, you can make little corrections to what you're doing to improve it. Well, I felt that so many factors today, like the universe, were so off that I could not pull it together. And what I mean by that is, first of all, the runway was shortened. So I was having trouble knowing even where to go, because it was like, okay, I was doing this. I didn't put a seat cushion under me, which I usually do, and that's just so I get a better view, so I'm a little bit just over the dash, and I get a little bit more leverage with the pedals. I didn't have that, so I was lower, my knees were bent. It was harder for me to work the brakes and so forth, so I was struggling there. And then the run-up, where we do our acceleration and testing of the engine, was in a different spot. I went to the wrong place. It's not even called the Southeast Run-Up, now it's called Bravo 5. And so, let's just say that already threw me off. Then when we were in the air, I felt that it was like my first lesson. I can't describe it to you. I felt like a lot of the information just zoomed right out of me. I almost felt like I wasn't in my body. It was a weird experience. I don't know how I can explain it to you, but like, I was turned off. I felt that, I could tell you that last lesson, if you go back and look at it, I felt very confident. Not that I could do everything, but I felt very secure, like I knew my way around the plane. This one, it was just a bit of a struggle. We did maneuvers over Malibu, which he said I did pretty good. I was able to hold headings. I was able to climb and descend. So go up and down, stay at a certain heading. I had to stay away from LAX airspace, which it was one of those things where he was like, okay, make sure to stay out of the LAX airspace, make a 360, going no more than 70 knots, and end up at heading, I don't know, 60, and then make sure to climb 1,000 feet. And so there's nothing wrong with what he asked me to do. I was not able to prioritize in my brain what was going on and what was more important, and to do that first. I was struggling to do that. I was struggling to, I don't know why, I had a lot of struggle with my right foot and the pedals. I think that was with the position I was sitting in. The plane was also different. I was not used to that plane. Again, I should be able to fly any plane, right? But it was one of those things where it was just like, there were so many little drops in the bucket that everything, came out of the bucket. The bucket was full and overflowed. Then for landings, I was just off. The point where you're supposed to land is 750 feet ahead, so it was very different. I felt I was off. I forgot when to put the flaps down. I could go on and on. I don't want to bore you with a list of things, but I can tell you that it was frustrating. I can't tell you that this whole journey will be perfection, that it will be amazing, that every single time it will be great. But I am going to be positive that tomorrow, because I have my next lesson tomorrow, I decided to book it back to back because I haven't been flying for 5 weeks. That's another thing. He was like, Rick, you didn't fly for 5.5 weeks. You lose practice. You forget things. That's what happens. And I was like, well, I don't think I would if I would have not driven for 5.5 weeks. Well, he was like, well, have you not driven for 5.5 weeks? I was like, well, no. Maybe like a week and a half at most when I was sick. But I was fine. And he's like, well, it's a lot more different to fly. So let me tell you, I wouldn't say today was a roadblock. Today was a learning experience. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. Today was a definite learning experience in how I need to be patient with myself. That's my biggest thing. The flaps up and down, that doesn't matter. What matters is I need to be patient with myself and know that this is going to take time, that I'm not going to get it right every single time, that it's going to be frustrating, but there's going to be a point where I'm going to get it, where it's going to be second nature to me, where I'm going to be more happy. All these things, not that I'm sad right now, but then, sorry, I'm letting all these things out, guys and gals, but I think it's good to let you into my brain, to let you know how challenging this journey is. That's what I wanted to make this series of flying, so that you know. I do appreciate your love and support as always. Please give me a thumbs up on this video. More encouragement, more love, more good vibes, guys and gals. So hopefully you're staying positive. Hopefully this lets you know that even a rough day, I think the most important thing is to use it as a positive learning experience rather than look at it negatively. We'll see you next time, guys and gals, and don't forget, be hopeful.
And you know how to forget all the wrong